Hi there, welcome to my course. In this lecture, you will learn about physical infiltration. Phase B physical infiltration. The facilities we choose to target may or may not be owned by the target organization, but will provide access to meaningful intermediate assets. Ultimately, our selection of the target facilities will be based on the assets available to us at that facility. There are two primary goals for physically infiltration target facilities. The first will be to compromise a new advantageous digitally pad that we can use to progress further toward our ultimate target assets. Second, we might be able to obtain access to assets that will give us additional data we can use inside the organization. For example, if we obtain a laptop that is no longer in use, it might still provide cached credential or other credential information about the internal network. In this phase, it will not necessarily always be about targeting the weakest link in a way, because the weakest link may not lead us to a valuable asset or an advantageous lily pad. When choosing physical target facilities, we have to weight the assets available at that location with the likelihood of success or difficulty to interface. Facility recognition tactics. Enumerating all of the facilities associated with a target organization should be an almost trivial task for you at this point. Besides internet accessible OSINT source like the target organization website, we have a myriad of public records that will contain information about the target organization physical presence. Obtaining facility location information is also an extremely nauseous piece of information that almost every employee you encounter will have no problem revealing over a phone call or email conversation. A few examples. Once we have built this basic information, we can follow up with a specific intergeneration of the functions or departments of the facility. Using Google Maps, we can obtain a satellite view as well as a view from neighboring street of our target facilities, like the example in this picture. Keep in mind though that the information can be out of date, however it is always a good starting point. Physical infiltration factors. There are likely factor key that we must consider and account for when physically infiltrating a target facility. This factor will help us decide which strategy to take and which assets to target. These factors include time, expense, damage, noise, exposure. Physical security. Concentric circles. Typically, all of these physical security controls are used to create different physical perimeters. You can think of these physical perimeters as concentric parameter layers. Each successive layer has its own parameter. Whether this is a well-defined parameter with a specific controls may or may not be the case. However, it is still a known layer within the mind of the people within it. These layers are not necessarily inherently stricter or more secure. In fact, more often than not, it's the exact compose with all of the attention on the actual parameter. Then once you have posed the parameter, there is very little active monitoring of concern. This picture shows two examples of concerted physical security parameter.